You've probably heard this a million times, right? Governments should be run more like a business. And, on the surface, that makes a lot of sense. But here's the thing. Businesses have a really simple, clear bottom line: profit. So what's the equivalent for the public sector? How can we tell if a government is actually doing a good job?
And that right there, that's the big question, isn't it? If a government's goal isn't to make money, how in the world do we score them? How do you put a grade on a new school or figure out the real value of a public hospital? What's the metric for a new bus route that changes someone's entire life?
So when you put them side by side, it's a night and day difference. For the private sector, it's all about profit. It's a clean, simple number you can find on a spreadsheet. But the public sector, its goal is, well, something much bigger, right? It's about delivering crucial services, improving our lives. So how do you possibly put a price tag on that?
Okay, so to get to the bottom of this, we kind of have to throw out the old idea of a bottom line. For the public sector, the goal isn't profit. Nope. It's all about creating value. Real, tangible value that you can feel in your community.
And there's actually a name for this concept. It's called value for money, or VFM for short. Think of it as the North Star for public spending. It's the core idea that every single dollar of our taxpayer money is being used as responsibly as possible to give us the services we need and to hit the goals the government sets out to achieve.
So that sounds great, but how do you actually measure value for money? Well, it turns out there's a really powerful but surprisingly simple framework for it. It's all about the 3 E's. Economy, which is about spending less; efficiency, which is about doing more with what you've got; and maybe most importantly, effectiveness. Did the thing actually work? This is basically the toolkit governments use to hold themselves accountable.
And listen, this isn't just some textbook theory. Governments all over the world are actually using this stuff. You look at countries like Malaysia, New Zealand, the UK, they've all built systems around this idea. Things like outcome-based budgeting or performance agreements. It's all about tying the money they spend directly to the results they get.
All right, let's dive into these 3 E's one by one. And we're going to start with the first E, economy. You can think of this as the absolute bedrock of spending public money the right way.
So, economy's all about the cost of your inputs. The stuff you need to buy to get a job done. And this is super important, it's not just about buying the cheapest thing on the shelf. It's about getting the lowest cost for the right quality. Buying the cheapest light bulbs is a terrible idea if they burn out in a week, right? Same principle. So, the key question here is really simple. Did we get the right stuff at the right quality for the lowest possible price? It's really about being a smart, savvy shopper, but with our money, with taxpayer money.
So to wrap up on economy, the focus is laser sharp on the inputs, the money, the people, the materials. And the big idea is not just about being cheap, it's about being frugal and, smart about how you spend.
Okay, let me give you a super simple example. Imagine a government office needs new pens and paper. Instead of just going to the first store they see, an economical office would put out a tender, get bids from a bunch of different suppliers, and then pick the one that gives them good quality supplies for the best possible price. Simple, right?
All right, so we've bought all our stuff smartly. We've practiced economy. Great. But that's only step 1. Now we've got to actually use those resources well. And that brings us to our second E, efficiency.
Efficiency is all about the relationship between what you put in and what you get out. It's basically a measure of productivity. Are we squeezing the most value, the most bang for our buck out of everything we bought?
So the question to ask for efficiency is, did we use our resources well? Once we have the supplies and the staff, how good are we at turning them into actual services or products? Are we cutting out waste? Are our processes as smooth as they can be?
So if economy was all about buying things right, then efficiency is all about doing things right. It's totally focused on the process, the relationship between your inputs and your outputs. It's about running a tight ship.
Let's go back to the hospital example to make this real. A hospital's efficiency could be measured by, say, how many patients a doctor can see in one day, or how fast they can process paperwork. It's all about getting the most out of the doctors, nurses, and equipment they already have.
Okay, so we can be super economical, and we can be incredibly efficient. But you know what? All of that is completely pointless if we fail the third, and I would argue, the most important E, effectiveness. This is the one that really matters. It's the ultimate test.
Effectiveness is simple. Did we actually achieve what we set out to do? It's not about how busy you were, it's about the impact you had. Did the program we launched actually make the difference we hoped it would?
This is the big one. It's the so what question. You could run the most efficient program in the world, serving thousands of people. But if it doesn't actually solve the problem it was designed to fix, then it just wasn't effective. Period.
And here's the crucial difference. Remember how we said efficiency is about doing things right? Well, effectiveness is about doing the right things. It's about making sure that what you're doing in the first place is actually the right move to get the outcome you want.
Think about this. A government runs a huge anti-smoking campaign. They could do it really efficiently, getting their ads seen by millions of people for a very low cost. That's great. But the campaign is only effective if the smoking rate actually goes down. See the difference? The ads are the output. Fewer people smoking, that's the outcome.
So at this point, you're probably thinking, okay, easy, just max out all 3 E's. But, and this is a big but, in the real world, it's never that clean. In fact, a lot of the time, these 3 goals are actually fighting against each other.
And here is a perfect, if a bit scary, example. Let's say you focus only on economy. You tell the health service to buy the absolute cheapest ambulances available. Sounds good, you save money. But what happens when those cheap ambulances are always breaking down? Suddenly, your effectiveness, your ability to actually save lives, goes right out the window. You were economical, but at what cost?
And that, right there, is the heart of the challenge for anyone managing in the public sector. It's not about being the best at just one of these E's. The real trick, the real art, is finding that sweet spot, that perfect balance between all 3, so you can deliver real value for money and be truly accountable to the public.
So there you have it. That's the framework. Now, the next time you hear about a new government initiative, you can think beyond just its budget. You can ask the smart questions. Is it economical? Is it efficient? And, the big one, is it actually going to be effective? Which really leaves us all with one final thing to think about. How well do you think your government is balancing those 3 E's?